Welcome to Save the Pumpkins podcast. I'm Amy.
I'm Shane.
Thank you for joining us today. We're going to talk about
2018's Falling for You.
which stars
Mhm.
Taylor Cole as Lacey and Tyler Hynes as Zach, which are the two main characters in this show. So I'm going to start off by saying, since this is very high on my pros list for this show, is for the first time in watching these Hallmark movies, I felt that both the female and the male character roles had an equal, um, what'd you say, spotlight in the show.
Amount of time.
Yeah,
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 I
like
agree.
his career and his profession, they kind of focused on that just as much as hers. And it wasn't so much the girl falling in love with the guy or the guy falling in love with the girl. It was kind of like a mutual thing.
Yeah, I think that with all these movies, like I said, they're fantasy movies, and this is one of the first ones where the people felt real. Like that sounds silly in a Hallmark movie that people felt real. We know that's not the case, but it felt like a real guy. So set it up a little bit. What's the story? Do you remember?
So she is in a small town, as they all are, and is the radio host or MC in the
You're
town.
right.
And he comes in, his career
He's a
is
software developer. He's going to be
right,
writing the software for the town, the finance software, which which plays into her role because her radio station is
right. It's losing money,
struggling. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And so the big thing, of course, is this harvest that they're having. And
Always.
right. And she's going to put bachelors up for auction and
Bachelor Bake Off.
right, so they're baking while they're bidding for dates.
Yeah.
And so lo and behold, someone falls out of her contest, and
Yeah.
Tyler, Zach's character,
Yeah.
she wants to put in as the replacement.
Yep. And
But
he's really subdued too. Like he's not like hateful or anything. He's just really he's got that kind of crooked smile, and he just sort of he looks like a software developer. He looks kind of like angry and a little
well,
let
that's
me
the
do my
thing, right?
thing.
His personality doesn't come across as pushed. Like he actually genuinely comes across as though that is how he would talk in real life outside of a show.
It's really weird. I don't want to fast forward too much ahead to the other shows or the other movies we're going to talk about, but these movies are actually some of them are pretty good. I mean, they're still the same formula, but yeah, he feels like a person. She feels like a person. Neither one of them are they're not silly.
Well, okay, but in the beginning, her character, we both agreed, came across as very pushy. Do you remember in the beginning of the show, it was like we were like, ugh.
But I think yes, that's true. But I think that's who she is. She's a radio host who's super bubbly, and she has to go out and kind of push her, push what she does to people in the town. That's just her personality, who she is. I didn't think that it didn't make her unlikable because of course she changes a little
Hmm.
bit, and gets a little more. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they did a really good job of focusing, like I said, on both of them and their importance in
Mhm.
the movie, and not so much the one-sided that I feel like happens a lot. The girl's got to get the guy's gonna fall for the
No,
girl,
totally.
you know, and it it didn't keep me bored. Like I wasn't bored, so I
Right.
thought this was a very entertaining show, and I had never seen these characters
Mm.
before, these
The
people playing
actors.
in
Yeah.
any other roles, and so it was a little bit refreshing that way.
He's been in quite a few things that we'll probably visit on the Christmas time. Spoiler, we should be having a Christmas time podcast because there's infinitely more of these shows the Christmas time. And he's been in a few. I didn't recognize her, but I don't know. I think at the mid part of the show, spoiler again, they fall for each other. I think at the mid portion of the show, I was like, yeah, this I believe this. Like I believe that he's a a sensible, nice, good-looking guy. She's good-looking. She's sensible. They're they don't do a. I don't think they did a weird like one of her old flames. That's another trope
Hmm.
that's in these. Like she's got a boyfriend from the past. We'll get there with that last thing we watched, but she's got another boyfriend from the past, or he's got another girl from the. They didn't do any of that.
No, no.
It's just a real sweet story. They just I can't. I
The
mean,
script was very well
yeah,
written that the actors were able to, you know, come across as believable. It wasn't very like
totally
robotic, and the town in which this took place was very scenic and
beautiful.
um,
Yeah, and I think they get there. I mean, of course, there's a. This one was apples, right? Apple farm. Every one of them's got a farm and a fall harvest. That's how it works.
well, the
This was
one
the apple farm.
well, she helped over her radio station to bring in volunteers to help that gentleman whose
His
farm
apple farm.
needed to be
His,
picked.
his apple farm.
Right, but that
Yeah.
wasn't the center. That wasn't actually, it was in the movie, but not
A
the
radio
center
station
of.
was struggling, not a farm. Well,
Correct.
true. Yeah.
Right. But
Yeah.
there was apples involved, of course, because we have to have some sort of picking of apples or peaches
This is
or
the
plums
third
or
or fourth
pumpkins.
Hallmark Harvest film that we've watched in a row that has a picking scene where the two go
And I'm
and
going to tell you
pick
right
together.
now, if you and I ever went to go pick apples, I know how to pick them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
They actually go over the instructions.
Yeah.
It's
Thanks, Hallmark.
yeah, it's weird business. I liked it. There's a couple of cute little side stories. There's a side story where Tyler Haynes' character Zach is no, I'm sorry, is what the character Tyler,
Ty.
is playing Tyler Haynes' character Hynes, excuse me, character Zach is helping one of the young kids that works at their radio
Ty. Hmm.
station, like an intern. Ty, yeah. I'm not gonna try and pronounce
Agape.
agape. That M is silent.
Mignon Zulu.
Zulu, yeah,
Mm.
for sure. Um, he's helping him, and it was just
It was very sweet.
it could have been dumb. It could have been really bad. It was handled very well. It was just a
Yeah,
sweet
that was
story.
his storyline that I found very nice to hear was how they focused on him just as much as they focused on her and her evolution in the movie.
They gave him a they gave him a personality. They made you
Right.
like both of them before they liked each other. It's like that old thing I think Roger Ebert used to say it about movies. Uh, the best movies are the ones where everybody in it, every character has their own agenda, their own thing that they want to do,
Hmm.
and they're just kind of meeting and dealing with how their agendas collide. It was kind of like this. I mean, in a much dialed back way. But yeah, I'm looking at the cast list. I don't really remember anybody else that was
Well, and then another thing that kind of struck my fancy with
mm,
this one was the
struck
way
your
that
fancy. Is pretty
Tyler's character Zach dressed. You
good.
know, the cardigan,
Yeah, yeah, you
the
do.
fall like clothing. I mean, that doesn't usually happen. I'm not usually one to say, "Oh my gosh,"
Mm.
but he actually looked very cozy.
So we have to say this, right? These Hallmark movies they're made for for a certain audience for sure, but they cast attractive leads. They don't want you conventionally attractive. I mean, be careful. I mean, they cast leads rather that are conventionally attractive, and these are two. I can't speak for the guy. I know you thought he was really good looking,
No, I think the role that
but it's a
they put him in, the way that his script was written, the way they dressed him, I think that became the.
it did. But what I'm saying is it these movies will succeed or fail when you're watching them sometimes based off of how good the actor or actress is, but don't fool ourselves how attractive they are. That's a good looking man, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, good looking couple, and they know that, and that's what they're kind of doing, right? That's one of their little things. But yeah, I like. What's your overall recommendation?
Um, I say watch it. I
Oh,
think
totally.
you'd be very, like I said, it was different than the ones that we've been watching, which you'll hear about in other the other podcasts we do, but it gave a different perspective. Both, I think, the male and the female role had a nice, you know,
Mhm.
evened out
Fa-
focus.
Fall look is there in spades.
Hmm.
Like the harvest looks, it's orange
Yeah,
and red.
and it was also nice to hear about saving something other than a pumpkin or an apple. Like that, I mean, that was nice, right? It was a nice
That's
little
it. Yeah,
twist.
they switched it and made it a radio station. Works. Yeah. Like, and we talk about this. I'm gonna repeat it before we close this out because we're 10 and a half here, 10 and a half minutes. Uh, Charisma and the leads, the chemistry in the leads. If it's not there, these things fail, and this one was there.
Yeah,
Like,
I enjoyed it a
yeah,
lot.
I believe it. I believe it. So you want to take us out? You want me to?
You go ahead.
Okay. So thanks so much for joining us. Sorry this one's getting out a little late. We're gonna probably put out a few here because we're recording this on the 23rd, so we'll probably get we've been watching them. Just been a little slack on. I've been a little bit slack on putting them out. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.
See you soon.